Hi, I'm Peter James. I'm English crime writer. I'm the author of the Roy Grace series. Roy Grace is a detective superintendent based in Brighton, which is a city where I grew up as a kid and where I've always had a home. It's a great place for a crime writer because it's since 1930 been called the murder capital of Europe and the crime capital of the UK. My latest book, which is the 8th in the series, is Not Dead Yet. Not Dead Yet is about a subject which fascinates me, of celebrity stalking. Before I became a full-time writer, I spent a lot of my life making films, both writing and producing, and alternating between that and writing novels. And I worked with a number of A-list celebrities over the years. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Sharon Stone, Penelope Cruz, Charlize Theron, and many others. And I could see this strange relationship these characters would have with their fans, in that they both are desperately in need of the love of their fans and the worship of their fans, at the same time protected by bodyguards. They complain on the one hand about being mobbed by fans, on the other hand they get almost starved of oxygen. When I was researching this novel, I spent some time with the Los Angeles police. They actually have a celebrity stalking department, I guess because they have more celebs per square inch than anywhere else on the planet. They call it the Threat Management Unit. And I had a great quote from the chief of police, Chief Moore. He said to me, "You know, Peter, the problem with a lot of these A-list folk is these are high-voltage people who create their own weather." This is the book. Graham Greene's novel Brighton Rock, set in my home city of Brighton, that made me want to be a writer. When I put this book down at the age of 14, of the first time I read it, I just went, wow. It was the first time I'd read a crime novel in which, if you like, there was not a body in the library in the first chapter and the rest of the book was a puzzle to solve it. You know, the central character of this book is Pinky, a 17-year-old murderer, part of a gang who is consumed by Catholic worries. He's a devout Catholic, worried about eternal damnation. It has, I think, one of the most grabbing opening lines of a novel ever written. Within 3 hours of arriving in Brighton, Hale knew they meant to murder him. I defy you not to read on. You know, every writer is influenced by many of the books they've read and admired. I don't think there's been any book other than Brighton Rock that's had as big an influence on me as Thomas Harris's Silence of the Lambs. I think it changed the whole public perception of what good crime writing was all about. It was really the first time we had psychological profiling. It was the first time we really saw a whole range of different perspectives: police, perpetrator, and victim. And it also did, Silence of the Lambs did one other kind of key thing. It slightly changed the dynamics of the good guy, bad guy. Because in Silence of the Lambs, we have a police character, and we have the really nasty guy, Buffalo Bill, the guy who skins human beings and wears the skin as clothes. But in between, we have Hannibal Lecter, I think one of the greatest fictional creations, who is a monster, a serial killer, and yet, because he's helping the police to find Buffalo Bill, we kind of warm to him, we admire him, and we even smile at the end of the book about him. And I think that's an extraordinary thing that Thomas Harris did, to make us actually like a monster. And it's a lesson that I've learnt throughout writing, that the greatest villains are the ones that the authors actually endeared you to. If you look at Frankenstein's monster, you care for the monster because he turns to Frankenstein and says, you know, I didn't want to exist, you made me. You know, Dracula we like because the guy's got style. And I think Hannibal Lecter we like. And I always try in my own writing to remember what I've learned from these books and give my own villains something endearing that you like about them. There are a lot of books that were a big influence on me as a kid that open up the possibilities of the world of crime writing beyond that old English cliche of the body and the library. I discovered the American writer Ed McBain, his novel The Con Man, and then the whole kind of precinct novels, I discovered Joseph Wambaugh, who I loved. And Sherlock Holmes was always a very big influence on me. I remember the first Holmes story I read. Watson said, "Gosh, Holmes, how did you deduce that?" And Holmes said, "My dear Watson, I knew you were looking for a man whose bathroom window was on the left-hand side of his wash basin." And Watson said, "How, Holmes?" He said, "My dear Watson, have you never noticed he's always better shaved on the left-hand side of his face, from the light source?" And as a kind of young aspiring writer, I was blown away by this sharp-eyed detective. And I thought, one day I want to create a detective who's as sharp as Holmes. My favourite of his books is Hound of the Baskervilles. It's just a great story all the way through the book. You think there's a real, genuine supernatural edge to this story. And then you get to a great reveal. I think it's a masterpiece. I see an author's given a very nice quote on this book. One of the best novels I've read in a long while. Astonishing, powerful, and immensely satisfying. Oh, Peter James, that's me. This is, I thought, a terrific book. One of my favourite novels of the last 25 years is Tom Wolfe's Bonfire of the Vanities. And this novel is an almost English version of it. It's a very accomplished first thriller. It's a story of a wealthy girl about to get married to a kind of rich London banker. They go to a nightclub. He gets in an argument with the guy in the office. He's off his face on drugs. Comes out of the office and the guy's dead. He's charged with the man's murder, and the girlfriend sets out on a journey to try to prove that actually her fiancé didn't do it. And all their lives are changed in the process, which is what, to me, good fiction should be.